Hey everybody, Benji Lewis here with the Hardscape CEO. Going to do a quick introductory video about what this video series is about. So this video series is about pricing in general. So we're kind of going to cover 10 points. Going to go over one, is pricing the silver bullet for how to make a profitable and well-running business? I would probably say yes, it is. So we're going to go over that and see what I mean by, is it the silver bullet? What's it look like? We're going to go over what do those prices do to our job costs, right, on every single project? And then also, what do they do to our P&L on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis, right? What are those incremental price increases or price, decrease, whatever it would need to be, usually probably a price increase. What are those doing to all my job costs? And then at the end of the year, what are all those job costs combined together, in essence, turns into our P&L, and understand what that looks like. We're also going to go over net profit versus gross profit, right? To understand what's the difference between the two. Where do you need to be on each one of those? Or not where do you need to be? Where do you need to be? Where do you need to be, and where would you like to be, right? And probably a step further, where are you, right? There's kind of 3 steps in the gross profit, net profit. Where are we today? Where do we need to be? And really, where do we want to be? And where are best-in-class companies at on those? So we want to be at that third spot, where we're one of those best-in-class companies, because you know what those best-in-class companies can do, because they're pricing things correctly and they have good job costs and they have good gross profit, net profit. Well, they're able to pay their employees more, which means guys stay around longer. You have better, more seasoned guys that understand the process. I mean, everything about making more profit isn't, hey, let me see how much money I can screw out of a homeowner or a client. That's not the idea here. The idea is, hey, we want to offer a service and offer a place to work that is incredible and that you get the chance to move up and stay with and grow with. And so everybody kind of wants that. So, but how you do that is the daily numbers and the daily execution of it and the daily pricing of things. So also going to go over discounts to clients, right? Clients, of course, want discounts. Now, is there a time that's okay? Sure. Are there a lot of times where you have to hold the line and say, I just can't do that? That's not what I know, Mr. Homeowner. You might think that I'm charging you $40,000 for a patio and I'm making, $30,000 of that in profit, but that's not the case when we really dive into the numbers. So let's look at where we want to be, right? So these kind of things build on each other, because we want to look at where we want to be in net profit. And so take, for example, if you do a $40,000 project and your goal is to make 10% on every project, that would be a $4,000 net profit on that job. Client says, hey, I would love to do this, but you're at 43. If you could get to 39, I'll do it. Well, you might have just thrown away all your profit on that job by going, well, I really would like to have this job. This is going to be pretty, and I'm going to use it in my marketing, my Instagram, and I'm going to put it on TikTok. Well, let's just make sure that it makes sense to actually take the job. So you can make a lot of money not taking projects. And you'll probably hear me say that a lot, because I actually truly believe that, is that to be a great business, especially in a hardscape type industry, a blue collar type thing, you really have to be smart and walk away from some projects that either the crew wants, you might want it, your foreman thinks this is going to be easy and it's going to be great, and the salesman says, oh man, we got to take this. This is huge. I'm going to make a big commission. But you have to, as the business owner, be able to say, let's look at the pricing, make sure this pricing makes sense for us as a business, and then you make a decision. So next thing that we'll be covering in this video series is deposits and payment schedules, right? So how much should you be taking in a deposit? Is a bigger deposit always better? Is it good to have more payments or less payments on a schedule? And when should those payments be made? And which ones will clients do? Or will they do whatever you want them to do? But we're going to go over that. We'll also go over how to price your jobs, right? Not exactly like, we're not going to really dive deep, because every single market and every city and every business even, their pricing is going to be different. But we're going to go over on how, when I say how to price, we're going to go over, do you have a system in place that you say, hey, well, this is what it is. This is how tall the wall is. This is how much seating wall they want. This is the paver patio. This is the pergola. And all these things are priced out according to a pricing system. Or do you go on gut? Do you say, oh, this one looks pretty easy. There's pretty good access. I could probably do it for X amount of dollars. And you kind of send that over and you hope that you get it and you hope that it was right. Or do we put a system in place? And we'll kind of go over other things that are out there as far as software to help you do that and make that a little bit easier. Some of those I think you probably know about and have heard of. Now, which ones are good and which ones aren't really doing what they say that they should be doing. On the next line, we're also going to look at software, because there's a lot of software out there that, one, is worthless, two, might not help that much, three is way too expensive, and four, there are some that are phenomenal and you can run your entire business on them. And for $100 or $200, they can really be a game changer. So, but to look at every single software, oh my gosh, you'd spend an eternity, right? I mean, if you just look up like job costing software, even if you just look up CRM for landscaping and hardscape businesses, there would be a ton of them. So, and to implement each one, try it for 2 or 3 months, see which one, oh, that one didn't work. Let's try another one. Hey, let's do that. Let's do that 5 times. Oh my gosh, you'll spend 2 years doing that. So I've done that. I have somebody on my staff. They're actually not here with us anymore. They've moved on, but she was incredible. And I gave her a task. It was like, hey, let's try it. Let's start a test account of each one of these and let's see which one works, and let's knock out X and let's knock out this one. Oops, we thought this one would be great. Nope, that one didn't do this, and that's something that we really need. Hey, here's one that seems to be working. Oh, we thought it was working, but it still doesn't do what we want. And then we finally found one that we think, oh man, this does anything and everything that we want, and this is awesome. So we'll kind of go over those based on, because what I use at my business might not be best for what you need in your business. You might be a totally different size. And just so I can get this out in the open, the size of my business is we're a $5 million design build. That's what we do on an annual basis. Somewhere between 4.6 and 5.5, right? Depending on all sorts of stuff, because there is a lot of stuff. But ballpark, we're a $5 million business. And so we might have different needs than somebody that has an $800,000 business or a $12 million business. They might need some bigger enterprise type software to be able to handle, because maybe half of their business is landscaping and they've got 60 crews out mowing. Well, what I use probably wouldn't work for them because it would get too cumbersome. But for somebody that's got, for me, what works is we've got 4 crews that are out. They do about 1.2 to 1.3 per year each crew, and so for what I need, X, it was the software that I chose, and here's why. But I'm just going to kind of go over all those. Of course, we're going to go over in-depth job costing, because when it comes to pricing, that's how you figure out what your pricing should be, is your job cost. And if you're job costing either 1, never, 2, sometimes, 3, quarterly, I would love to find out that there are guys out there doing that. 4, monthly, or 5, best case, is in real time, right? So that every single week, like, hey, this job, we've got $18,253 allocated in the budget for materials, and we're sitting at $14,393. Just so you know, we've only got this much. And if we already know that we're going to be over, what's some way that we can try to fix this? Or maybe we're going to have to hustle more, or we're going to have, the owner's going to have to go out there. In our business, there's a couple owners. The owners are going to go out there and we got to get this thing in the ground. We got to save some labor because we're hurting on the material side, whatever that is, right? But really knowing where you sit on a job during it, but most importantly, right after. Because if you don't know and if you don't check until the end of the year, the amount of profit that you have lost by mispricing things throughout that year is, it's a bigger number than most people probably want to think about or understand. One of the last things we'll go over is minimum job size. And I know that this is going to be different per person, right? Per company, because some companies would say, hey, yeah, I'm fine taking on a $3,200 mulch job, right? And some guys would be like, are you crazy? I would never waste my time with that. Now, that's going to depend on your business, right? The larger landscape company that's got 30 crews out mowing or 10 crews out mowing, yeah, he might say, oh my gosh, I'm in that neighborhood all the time. More mowing. I'll have so-and-so supplier drop off 10 yards of mulch, and yeah, I'll have the landscape guys go and just replace that, no problem. Now, somebody else might go, man, I got one crew. I run it. I manage it. On average, we're putting in $70,000 jobs. There ain't no way I'm pulling off a job or squeezing a $3,200 job in between two $70,000 large projects. Like, no, I'm not taking that. So we need to understand who each business is and then what makes sense for them depending on it. So what I hope guys aren't out there doing is going, hey, I'll take anything and everything just because why would I ever say no to somebody, because that could lead to something better. But again, I'll go back to it. You have to be able to say no to some people and to some jobs that don't make sense. And if you're not, it's going to be hard for you to make money, because we do have to think about mobilization, size of crew. Are you set up at all? You might be a guy that has one crew and there's 5 guys on the crew. How in the world would you have 5 guys go and do mulch and it makes sense at all? Maybe you just missed out. If you're like my crews, we try to install, quote unquote, $5,000 to $6,000 every single day. And if I just spent 3/4 of my day between mobilization and mobilization back out to the next job, putting in a $2,200 mulch bed, it doesn't make any sense. I've just lost money in essence. I probably lost $1,000 or $2,000 that day. So we want to be thinking about all those minimum job sizes and, hey, where is that cutoff where we go, man, that is going to be a great job and I think it's going to look awesome. I've got 2 companies that you should call that handle these kind of things. Our typical jobs are closer to the $50,000 range. I think this is a $2,000 or $3,000 project, but let me give you these 2 guys' names. They handle this kind of stuff all the time and they're fabulous at it. I'm not charging you anything. I'm not taking any cut of this. I just want to give you these guys' contact information, and I'll email you and I'll copy both of them and say, hey guys, help this person out. They've got a small mulch job that they need taken care of. But we need to know where that line in the sand is where we go, no, I'm not going to do it. So, or there's another facet to that, and I'll dive into it when we talk about minimum job size. There's always a way to take care of it, again, with pricing, right? Maybe it's not something that you want, and it's too small, but if somebody says, hey, that job's only $5,000, my minimum's $8,000, charge them $7,000. If they say they can't find anybody anywhere, okay, we'll do it for $7,000, right? I don't want to do it. You almost price things so that you don't get it. And then if you get it, you're like, okay, I'll take it at that price. So that's done everywhere in every industry. I don't think we do it enough in ours. So last final video will just be on final tips and tricks that I've found over the last 5-6 years in business that I think are smart and that I think help save us time, money, and efficiency and wear on guys. So some things we don't offer that we used to offer. Some things are triple the price than they used to be because the guys hate doing it, and it's not something that is a large enough scale to where we care about it. So there are tips and tricks, but also I want you to keep in mind is that all of these depend on you and your business. So all I'm telling you is this is what I've found, right? I'm not saying, hey, this is how you do it, and if you don't do it like me, you're an idiot. I'm never saying that, because there are guys that are bigger than me that are doing 10, 30, $80 million in landscapes and design builds, and they're getting into home additions and all sorts of stuff, and they would look at my business and laugh and go, oh, that's cute. I remember when I thought that when I was doing $5 million. But this video series is really for guys that are smaller, that are either have been small for a while or are doing a lot of landscaping and want to dive into some hardscaping and some design build, or they're just guys that are saying, man, this is a cool industry I'd love to start. I've got some expertise in building, or I used to deal with concrete, or I worked, for 2 years at a company doing retaining walls, so I understand that portion of it. I might want to dive into some of this and do some for friends on the side, or, a side hustle where I try to do 5 patios a year to make more money for my family. And man, these are great for you to be like, hey, help me out. But I'm not here to say like, hey, this is the Bible for hardscaping. I'm here to say, here's how I did it. It's worked for us. Here's what we've learned over the years, and here's how we're doing it as of today and going forward. So take it for what it's worth, but don't take it as this guy Benji says this is how you have to do it. If you don't do it, you're an idiot. Because I swear to you, some point I'm gonna post a video on how to do X, and somebody's gonna go, hey, I used to do it like that, and boy, here's a better way. And I'm going to go, oh my gosh, yeah, that is awesome. Because how do I know that that's going to happen? Because we still change things all the time in my business, right? We still go, hey, this is how we do it. And then we find out like, man, I saw a video of a guy, look what he's doing here. This is how he's installing this. Or here's how he's getting leads from the newspaper or a radio, and go, what? People are still using the newspaper? Yeah, this guy's killing it. Look what he's doing. And you dive into it and go, oh man, that is actually really smart. I never thought that you could do that. So I always try to be open to new ideas. I never think like, hey, the way I'm doing it's the best and I'm never going to change that. No, if you ask anybody in my company, they would probably go, oh my gosh, the whims of Benji and what we're doing this month or this quarter or this year, that can change. But if you'd like to evolve as a business and a business owner and a leader, you do have to change sometimes. You do have to go, man, this is the way I've done it for the last 3 or 10 years. I was wrong. Here's how we need to do it going forward. So hopefully in this video series that you get, because we're going to be covering everything, right? When it comes to the business side, this is not going to be about how to install retaining wall block or how to put pavers on an open grade or should you use a concrete base for a retaining wall, or how do you put in pools? Do you put in gunite or do you put in fiberglass? I'm not getting into that, right? So this is just going to be about the business side. This is going to be, for one, like this one, pricing. We're going to have them on marketing. We're going to have it on social media. We're going to have it on advertising. We're going to have it on, you name it, anything, whether it comes to accounting and accounting softwares, finance. Should I still be, at what point do I buy a machine versus renting it here and there? Where's that break-even point? But going over all of those and understanding the business of it, of, hey, how do I do insurance? It sure seems like my insurance is getting outrageous. Has anybody had any luck doing insurance a different way or a better way? So the business side of it, mostly because I think most guys are pretty good at installs. I'm in Kansas City. Kansas City Hardscapes is my business. And most of the guys, because, everybody kind of follows everybody in the hardscape industry. Most of the guys I follow and I see their work on Instagram, I'm like, man, that guy's great. Yeah, they do good work. Most guys do. Are there guys out there that do horrible work? Sure. Yeah. Are they typically one-off guys, 2 guys in a truck, or are they landscape guys, or guys that cut grass and somebody needed a patio and they said they could do it, and you look at it and go, ooh, yeah, that might not last too long. Yes, but the majority of people, they're good at putting it in. But I do think the majority of people are looking at their books at the end of the year, end of the month, even end of the quarter, and going, man, we put in X amount of dollars. How do we not have more in the bank? Right? Where's it all going? That's what these video series and this online class is for, to go, hey, let's understand this. Let's get a better handle on the business side of the business. Because, if it's anything like, the book that I'm sure a lot of you have read, The E-Myth, running a business, if you're the leader of that business and you're the owner, it turns into less doing in the business and more running the business, right? If you were a plumber and you said, hey, I'm going to go on my own and be a plumbing business owner. Well, guess what? You now are probably doing less plumbing and you're doing more like advertising. I got to go get a van. I got to get a truck. I need all this equipment. How do I finance that? Where can I need a bank account. How do I set up an LLC? Oh man, how do I even know if I'm making any money? Should I hire somebody to answer the phones? I mean, you become a business owner and less of the tradesman. And so now that we've dove into that aspect of owning a business and going, oh man, this is what I'm doing. Okay. I think that's where guys need to get better. I think everybody can take videos and say, hey, look how gorgeous my job is. Better is to actually, so I'm a car guy, right? So I love older cars. Sometimes I think guys that put in incredible projects are guys that put a really good paint job on an old car that really, if you opened up the hood and took a look at it, you'd be like, oh, wow. Okay, there's oil coming out of everything, right? We need new gaskets. Antifreeze, I can definitely smell that. Well, I probably got to replace the whole coolant system. Got to do all of this stuff, right? That it looks pretty and it's great, but when we actually look under the hood, we go, whew, not so pretty anymore. And I think guys just haven't been prepared for it. So I'm hoping to say, hey, this is my expertise, right? Is the running of the business. And I'll post a video later about like my history and who I am. And I can even post a link. I'll put it in the description down here on the notes of like a link to my LinkedIn profile. So you can see like, hey, who is this jackass that says, hey, let me help you run your business. But this is my expertise is sales and marketing and running of a business and the numbers behind it to make sure that, right, I would actually rather it be kind of when I go back to the car example, I'd rather it be a Restomod. I'd rather it be, oh man, that thing's kind of beat up, isn't it? Man, it's kind of got rust all over it. Like, well, maybe it's not rust. Maybe that's actually patina. Maybe that's the look he's going for. And then guy gets in and freaking push button starts it up and it's got an LS motor in it and it sounds like a beast and it runs awesome and it's got Bluetooth and everything about it. You're like, whoa, that is surprising. That guy's not putting in anything that's exceptional. He's just putting everything he's putting in. He's nailing it on pricing and he's able to do things that other people can't do because of the numbers and the margins that he's able to run. That's the business that I think everybody should be the goal. Now, if you're putting in great projects and you put them on Facebook and Instagram, that's awesome. That's what you should do. But you shouldn't be doing it to show off to other hardscape guys. You should be doing it so that clients look at it and go, wow, that's pretty. I want those guys to do it. Knowing that the next time someone calls and they say, hey, I saw that picture, that when you go and you price out that next guy, that your pricing is going to be so on point that you're like, cool. Boom, 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 boom. Here's the price for that job. They take it and like, I'm going to make good money on this one too. And because you should be doing that on every single job, right? At least going into it. Always going to have unforeseen things that come up and you're going to look at it and go, oh man, I really thought that job would go better, but it didn't. But we ran into this. We didn't see that. And the guys didn't let anybody know and, whatever. We've all had those where you're like, man, $40,000 job and I just lost, $5,200 on that job. Dang. So it's going to happen. But overall, the video series, that's what it's going to be about, is the numbers behind everything. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, put them down underneath the video or give me a buzz. You can shoot me an email or leave comments and I'll respond to anything that you got. So have a great day and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.